I invite Gonçalo Vieira from Savills, Jack Chevelle from Life Plan Resorts, Alex from Nomad Bay, and our friend Christopher from the agency up on the stage.
Jack and Alex are...
Yeah, no, they haven't gone AWOL. We found them all. They're here.
Hey, guys. So I'm here. We're here again.
Hey, thank you.
You're number 3.
Number 3, Jack number 2. So we've gathered together 4 of our chamber members, all in one way or another in the real estate business in the Lisbon area and the the Lisbon area and the Porto area, although 2 or 3 of them have expertise all over Portugal as well. And I'm going to put some questions to them because you have a lot of experience sitting up here. If you have any interest in either the Lisbon area or the Porto area, talk to any of these guys, but they all do slightly different things. So I'm going to ask our first, there we are, the Rogues Gallery. Okay, Gonçalo, I'm going to ask you first, microphone. Thank you. Sorry. Gonçalo, Savills Portugal, wholly owned subsidiary of Savills UK. Why have Savills set up an operation in Portugal? What's going on there right now? What sort of properties are you dealing with?
Hello, good afternoon, Christine, and thank you for this opportunity. So Savills has been in Portugal for some time now, and recently they've entered the residential markets in Porto and in Lisbon, finding that there's good opportunities in the market for investors and for buyers. We have several properties that could fit in all locals, but again, foreigners that, for example, want either to live in Lisbon or Porto, or want to have a place just for 1-2 months of vacation over the year, and afterwards get a return out of it. So I think this is a gap that Savills found in the market and push forward with it.
So Savills in Portugal does a lot of residential real estate, so properties for sale all over Portugal, particularly in the Lisbon and Porto area. And I know you are from Porto yourself, aren't you? So you're a northerner, but I know you do a lot of business in Lisbon as well. And so the Savills machine in Portugal is residential, but also commercial and offices, investment opportunities, land, etc. Industry, etc. So
other departments beyond, let's say, the real estate market, like architecture, property management, so research. So we try to help our clients in all the sectors that the real estate market has to offer.
Wonderful. Okay. I'd like to now switch to our next guest, who is Jack Chevelle from Life Plan Resorts. Now, Jack, again, we were talking earlier over London, a wealth of expertise, sitting there with what you are, offering a wealth of expertise, but you have a very interesting background. I know you're a physician-turned-entrepreneur with a track record in healthcare, started in South Africa, now in the States, but you found your way to Portugal in an interesting way through a small investment in the Algarve, which then opened your eyes to the beauty of the whole country, and now you are firmly committed here. What have Life Plan Resorts done? You've bought something very special in Lisbon, haven't you?
Correct. Nice to meet all of you. So we acquired a large piece of real estate 30 minutes outside of Lisbon. Was from Nova Banker from the Lone Star liquidation. It's 510 hectares. We have 2 golf courses on site. It's beautiful in the cork forest. With a river frontage of 2.8 kilometers. And what we're planning to do, I think many people have always spoken about Portugal being the Florida of Europe for retirement, and we're hoping to make that a reality with the first retirement village that will be built in Benavente.
Yes, exactly. So it's based around an existing golf course, but you are going to be using this Life Plan Resort as the basis for a very special, holistic, 24/7 senior living area. Explain a little bit more about that, because it's the first time I've heard this concept, first time in Portugal, certainly.
Sure. So I think all of you are aware that the market is huge. There are 100 million people, over 60 in Europe. America is a bit of a mess at the moment. Retirement there is very, very expensive. So I think you'll see even more interest in Portugal from the United States. And basically what we are putting together is an integrated holistic approach to aging. So it will have a healthy aging component to it, and welfare, so wellness and healthcare, with healthcare on site. So for assisted living, should really your health status change, we'll have doctors on site, and it will be seamless and continuous, which is really a new concept. And we just adding on is a brain vitality program using the latest AI, where hopefully we can delay or retard, what most people are worried about, and that's using their cognitive function.
Exactly. You did some research, didn't you, which really surprised you in terms of what people wanted to do in later life and where they wanted to do it.
Correct. So there were two pieces of research. One was JLL, the demographics, and they confirmed 300 million people over 60. What was surprising for us is that they expect that number to grow to 120 million in the next 7 years. So massive with the baby boomers. And then we investigated 6 countries, France, Germany, the UK, and others. And the surprise results that came out of that was that 46% of retirees that were interviewed said they would consider retiring abroad, which was a huge number for us. We thought it would be closer to 20. And of the 46% that said they'd retire abroad, 64% said their first choice would be Portugal.
Extraordinary. So you're hoping to go live in June in terms of starting providing access to the properties and the golf becoming more active. Your big opening party next week. So what are you hoping for the next 6 months at the Life Plan Resort near Lisbon?
Sure. So we've cleaned up the property. It was severely neglected. The golf courses are in much better condition, but we've just completed a sales office because we know anyone that could consider moving or coming to Life Plan Resorts will want to come and experience it. We have 4 guest houses. They can sleep over, play golf, etc. So with the completion of the sales office, we'll now launch our full social media campaign, push the button on the marketing, and we're hoping to have 50 sales by the end of May, and that will allow us to start construction in June.
Okay, wonderful. We'll come back to you in a minute, Jack, but I'm going to ask our friend Alex Van Steur, who's been a very valuable member of the Chamber now for more years than we thought. 9 years, how is it possible? You started when you were 16, presumably. But anyway, Alex, welcome back to the Moving to Portugal shows. Now, Alex, you do have, you're just finishing up a project in the Algarve, which is why we've put the Algarve slide up, and your stand next door does talk about the Algarve, but we know that you have fingers in many pies, and you have several projects running now or beginning in Lisbon and Porto. Tell us a little bit about why you're in the Portuguese market. You've been in Portugal for 9 years now. You have a very strong view and a lot of statistics about where the Portuguese market sits in terms of Europe, why the growth is happening. Why are you, as a businessman, involved in Portugal? What is it that, what sort of properties are you finding appeal to your buyers?
Okay, great. I mean, one of them, like we have to say it, I think Life Plan's business model is
Really interesting.
one of the most compelling I've heard in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of people talk about retiring in Portugal and Portugal being the Florida of Europe. But have we ever seen a project like that, which is pretty much what everyone wants? You know, I'm not ready to retire, but it's probably the kind of projects I would like to spend the rest of my life in. So, congrats. Well told. Yeah, so I mean, I've been in Portugal for 9 years. I'm French originally, and I've seen the market quite shift in a positive way over the last 9 years. So, what started initially as renovating historical buildings in the historical center of Lisbon for Golden Visa investors has grown to more high-end products because that's where the international demand was. Then it came into service residential projects, and nowadays what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of demand for Portuguese nationals or buyers that want to return to Portugal or buyers that have Portuguese ties, especially in the area of Porto. So we've invested quite a bit of money and resources in the Porto region because there's lots of demand there, and you're still getting very good value for your investment in this area.
Tell us about your favourite project. You have several underway, but you have a particular project in Porto that you think is valuable for changing lifestyles in terms of the space, people, the co-working and working from home and not commuting.
So let's say that we're doing before retiring, you have to keep working, but you want to do it in a way that's comfortable. So before life plan, you have a new type of project. It's called Nomad Reserve. So basically we bought a 10-hectare piece of land in not the center of Porto, but it's like 10 minutes by car away. And the idea is to only build 2 of those 10 hectares and to do a natural reserve in the rest of the area. And the other thing we do into all of our projects, and now we are scaling up, is we are always including gathering lounges for the community to meet up, co-working spaces, conference rooms, noise insulated areas for people to take Zoom meetings, because we found out that when you commute 1 hour a day, if you work 240 days a year, that's a staggering 24 days of commute, 24 days per year. So imagine you could spend that time pretty much doing anything else, even standing up is nicer than being in traffic. So we realized that if we are promoting inside our projects peacefulness, promoting work and pushing people to either go to the office a bit later after the rush hour, not only is it good for the environment, but it's good for people's mindset and they live happier. So that's kind of the concept. We're hoping we can replicate this across Europe. So it's a good test for us.
Okay, wonderful. Perhaps you could pass the microphone on. Now, our fourth guest is Christopher Kirby-Higgs from the agency. And Christopher, again, you have some rather interesting American originations in the sense that the agency in Europe is an offshoot of the agency in the States. Tell us a little bit more about the DNA of the agency and your ethos.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Christina, and great to see you all here today. So yes, so the agency is indeed, as Christina said, an American company. There are obviously many American real estate companies, even based in Portugal, like Remax, Century 21. There are many there. The agency, however, is a boutique agency. It's based in Beverly Hills. It works the high-end luxury market in the US. It has also kind of the, let's say, the bragging right that it has. It's one of the only real estate companies that has an exclusive Netflix series that obviously promotes a lot of its own branding. Yeah, as you can imagine, Americans love their showbiz, and the luxury market is no different. The agency has, let's say, a bit more of a modern approach in terms of its marketing. And of course, we work just like Savills and many other agencies here. We obviously work the mass and luxury market. There goes my phone. Okay, it'll be okay. There goes the screen. So, you know, the difference at the agency, we actually, obviously as Savills as well, we work the entire country. So we're based, you know, we have agents in Porto, we have agents in the Algarve, we have agents in Lisbon. I live in Cascais for 38 years, so I'm based in Cascais, and I'm half Portuguese, so Portugal has been my home for the vast majority of my life. And just to say, so what's good about the Portuguese market is not only that it offers all the potential services that you could possibly ever dream of having. I'm a sports guy, for example, and you know, there aren't many countries that can offer you all the sports facilities that Portugal does. And then, you know, we have also the health service, and we have the education service, and we have the most amazing food in Europe. You know, so it's just this country that has this amazing package. So the agency, which is owned by Mauricio Mansky, wanted to tap into what is an ever-growing market, which is the Portuguese market. He's also tapped into Spain, and the global expansion is continuing. But he really, really wanted to open in Portugal even before he opened anywhere else in Europe. So we're actually comprised of agents from various other real estate companies that are based in Portugal, and we obviously did a very good, let's say, human resources and hired a really good team. So we're based everywhere. We have listings that can go, and that's another thing that we should all mention in Portugal, is that Portugal has a very big variety because of its price range. You can buy something for 40,000 euros. I'm not exaggerating. And you can buy something for 60 million if you really want to. So it's a country that offers a very good variety, not only in terms of the locations, even in a place like Cascais, where I live in, you can find properties for as little low as 200,000, as you can go to Cristiano Ronaldo's house that he's building, which will be worth 40 million when it's done. So there's that variety, and the agency, we tap into that. And we also have that product range to offer to anybody.
Okay. And just tell us, before I give a last question to each of you, this is your last question, Christopher. Where do you see the Portuguese market? Do you see it continuing to grow compared, in terms of rising prices but rising activity, compared to the UK market, which is effectively stagnant at the moment? What's your view about the future, the near future of the Portuguese property market?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the Portuguese market's a market that's always steadily been rising since 2008. So 2008 was the last time that the Portuguese market actually suffered a price drop in terms of its average price. We've always had a price increase that ranges anything between 3 to 7% every single year, year on year. Last year, 2023, was one of the years where there was a slight, let's say, stagnation in the price increase, and that was because there was a bit of political uncertainty in our country because we had elections, and there was also the issue with the golden visa no longer being allowed for residential real estate. So there was just some slight uncertainties that now is kind of blown over, and we've seen already this year prices already going up at a steady pace at around 3% already. So the market in Portugal shows, and the studies do show, that even the second semester of 2024, we're going to have a big boom again. And that's something that's quite impressive with Portugal, that even though prices might be considered, let's say, high in a way, that is also sometimes not necessarily the truth. Portugal, like I say, has a big variety. And because it offers such good conditions in terms of, it's the fourth safest country in the world. That's something quite unique and quite an honor to be Portuguese, to be able to brag that we're the fourth safest country in the world. It has the 14th, in terms of the health index, has the 14th best health system in the world, and it's a national health service, just like the national health service here. So we have really good conditions. And when people, I always ask, for example, a lot of my clients, and I have clients from various nationalities, and I always ask them, because I just as a Portuguese person, I want to ask them, so why did you choose Portugal? And everyone's answer is always, safety is usually the number one answer, actually. I get safety a lot. And then, it's just the fact that we're very hospitable people. Portugal is a country that speaks a lot of English. You can go to most parts of Portugal, and you can come from another language, and you don't even need to really speak your language. I have people that actually are struggling to speak Portuguese and to learn Portuguese, because none of us want to speak Portuguese to them. We're always speaking English to them or something, And we have that natural ability. And there's many reasons for that. It's also because Portugal is one of the few countries that doesn't dub its the movies and television series on television. So we show our subtitles. That was actually made in I know I'm doing a bit of history here, but that was a government decision in 1986 because we had a high illiteracy rate of 33%, I think it was back then. And they decided, okay, well, first of all, it's cheaper if we don't have to dub. And secondly, if we do this, we will also teach a lot of people how to have to read. And that had made a lot of people learn the English language. So, unlike Spain, Italy, France, Germany, where they dub everything and everything's in their language, and you got George Clooney going todo bien, it doesn't make a lot of sense. We don't really have that here. We hear the original language. That's actually made a gigantic difference. So Portugal is very open. We're a very passive country, and that is why we're so inviting. Now, that's to answer that question. I know I've gone on a lot. Is that we will continue to be inviting because we're still a country that is still quite affordable. We have to realize that Portugal is, on average, 40% cheaper to live in than the UK, and 40% is a big difference. So when we look at that, and we take that into consideration, and the quality of life, our 300 days of sunshine, you know, these incredible developments like Nomad and like Lifeplan and so on are creating in Portugal. We're becoming also a development haven, but with very good quality. We have to realize that the potential is there, and yes, studies show that our market will continue to rise.
Wonderful. Alex, can I put the same question to you? Because I know you are the king of the statistics. You are. Tell us why you're confident that the Portuguese market will continue to grow. I know you're worried about the UK market growth because of all the mortgages and all the indebtedness here.
Yeah.
You're fairly confident about the Portuguese market continuing to rise.
Well, before we get to the statistics, I think it's very clear over the last 5 years that Portugal is kind of not only resilient, but I would say seen as a safe haven. Whenever bad news come, I have a feeling that Portugal kind of benefits from it, whether it's inflation or the war or, you know, like, I have a feeling that Portugal is placing itself as like the safe haven. And that's true over and over again. And I think the reasoning is not just safety, as you said, but healthcare, education, infrastructures, obviously the sunshine, the quality of life. But what we are seeing now is also the opportunities. It's not just about real estate now, it's about renewable energies, it's about wellness, it's about high-end products, it's about movie productions, it's about, you know, industries. So I think that gives quite a bit of comfort for investors. And I mean, the only statistics I will give here is, despite prices stabilizing in the UK, asking prices mean nothing, volume does. And in some of the prime areas of the UK, the volume has gone down by up to 40% last year. And it's not just the UK, it's France also. And yeah, Portugal maybe had a slower growth, but it's still growth. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the highest one in Europe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. So I think that's very relevant.
Wonderful.
You know.
Okay, thank you. Last word to Jack here. Now, Jack, obviously you are very excited. Although you live in the States, I have a feeling you're going to be spending a great deal of time in Portugal perfecting your aging or your 360-degree holistic resort at Lifeplan Resorts, and we're all going to watch that with great interest, actually. Tell us, what is your plan? What is your outlook? What is your hope for the next 3 or 4 years in Portugal? How do you see things progressing?
So, so I moved from South Africa to the US in 2006. So I can maybe give you an honest perspective of the US versus Portugal. So at the moment, I think you've all been watching the two clowns in the circus. Right? That's going to continue and get worse. Right? The problem at schools with the children, with the guns, etc., is going to get worse. Right? San Francisco is empty now, it's closing down. I think in a nutshell, America has lost its moral compass. And I think this is, besides all these other things that have been mentioned, there's a morality in Portugal, which I think I hope will stay and will carry you. You have great IT expertise, and that's the new world, right? And then your healthcare costs are still reasonable. So when you compare that to other developing countries that are supposed to be the leaders of the world, they come a bad third behind Portugal. So I think it's just some great indicators for the future.
Wonderful. And our final question to Gonçalo from Savills. So, Gonçalo, you have an overall view of Portugal in terms of real estate. You're working with a really big British brand. You're from the Porto region, where you've got a lot of listings in Lisbon. Where do you think the hotspot is in Portugal currently? Where is the area that combines potential with good value together with security? Where do you think that might be?
It's a good question, Christina, and difficult to answer. What I'm looking at the moment is, being from Porto, I think Porto is bringing good opportunities at the moment, not only because of the security that the city is. It's a small country, a small city, but as I say, normally very, very easy going. You're 20 minutes away from everything by car, of course. But I think, and what I'm seeing from a lot of investors, again, looking to buy property in in Portugal, they start moving up from that Porto still has, let's say, more competitive price and probably a bigger margin to get a better price in a resale, in eventual resale than any other place. So I would go probably for
Porto region. Okay.
Porto region at the moment.
Wonderful. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and effort. If any of the audience want to talk to any of our four friends, please go and see them on their stands next door. Thank you very much.